Hey, y'all.
Dang, we should
Almost died.
Got any cheese? She's going to be Urkel for Halloween, y'all. She's practicing. That's all. Just practicing.
I don't need too much practice.
Oh, man. Me neither, to be honest with you. I've been running into everything, but I found out it's because I'm not being in the present moment. So,
Oh, that's why?
yeah.
How did you find that out?
From my therapist, I guess. But, no, but I mean, I kind of know that because I always talk about, welcome to Carlie's Couch, by the way.
Hey, yeah.
My extra sessions. I always talk about how I have to tell myself to slow down when I'm doing things. And so it just kind of makes sense. Like I was saying, like I closed the door and like scraped my nail polish. So like I had to go get my nails redone, or like stuff's falling all out of the drawers, or whatever I'm doing. Like I'm like running into things for no reason. Like I'm just not really paying attention to what's going on sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so anytime I'm being clumsy, it's really kind of that. That's like a notification to me that I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah, because you do be having random bruises.
Yeah, I just like running in the corner. Like my perception, it's like I'm not taking enough time to really process what's around me. I'm just moving faster. Or I don't know if I'm thinking faster or moving faster, but like something's going faster than the other. And so I just do a quick assessment and it's not right. So like that's what I'm constantly doing, quick unright assessments.
I feel like mine is whenever I'm rushing. Mm-hmm. Like I am inevitably like dropping things, running around.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. Like if you're rushing, you're thinking about where you have to be or what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not thinking about what you're doing right now, you start messing up and it takes longer and you get more frustrated. So it's kind of one of those, like, all right, just like let that go for a second and focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, just be present in that moment. Time is a construct. The only real moment we have is right now and today.
Thanks, Dr. Strange.
Actually, he's on my list of what Marvel superhero would you be?
Which Marvel one?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's who you would be?
No.
Oh.
But
I don't know.
He's on my list.
I'd be Iron Man.
Yeah, you do got the quick comebacks with that.
I mean, I just want that bread, but that
she's
too.
Like, that works too.
And niggas accept it. Like, he just said what he want to say, and we good.
Yeah.
That's just off top, thinking about his resources.
Oh, yeah. He's just so funny. He's always one of my favorites. I could see that. But back to today.
So you're not going to say he was going to be?
I mean, because it's...
Now you shamed. See? Now you ashamed he was going to say Hulk.
I'm not ashamed. Oh, I wasn't going to say Hulk. First of all, what would be ashaming about being the Hulk?
Not that, but he's definitely not like the coolest one.
Oh no,
but
he's not me. No, but that's like the one I am gonna say. I am like, damn, but it is me. I had a whole debate with somebody.
Ant-Man.
No, even though he's pretty funny too.
I can't really think of them
outside of appropriation, because I'm definitely not Scarlett Johansson, but like Black Widow.
Okay.
Her heart like that and like being the assassin, like that's kind of cool. But then the fact that she doesn't have an actual superpower, and so I did my research, and Phoenix used to be an actual Marvel superhero back in like the BC times, and I was like, oh, so I'd definitely be Phoenix, and they're like, but that doesn't count, it's not right now. I'm like, whatever. So there's a debate ongoing.
Oh, okay. With who? Like your friends or what? Oh, okay. All right. Group chat conversations.
With just one friend, but
Carlie's
yes.
Couch. Oh, text conversations.
Text and phone call. I got a phone call about how the Phoenix is not actually a Marvel character. It was a whole day thing.
That's real.
Today, we're thinking through topics, and there's a couple of things that I'm really excited to talk about. I'm usually generally excited to talk about a lot of things. But this one today is talking about the importance of doing things by yourself. And there's like no drum roll, no big thing. Like that's it. But I had a couple experiences this week that kind of made me think about it and realize how pivotal it's been in my life. And so I wanted to share. And I was talking to Alexia this morning, and she has a couple of things too. So this week I got back from vacation. Praise the Lord. Vacation was amazing. Argentina and Brazil were fire. But then I got sick, which was a whole thing because I was on a plane next to somebody sniffling and just, like my OCD on planes is like not. But so I was like resting intentionally and, just being very mindful about things that I was doing. Well, I started feeling better towards the middle of the week and feeling more like myself. And I've been wanting to get another tattoo for a really long time. I got my first one when I was 20. I'm 30. And I was like, man, like, but every time I go to do it, like the last time I was going to do it at Lala's party, they ran out of ink. And then another time, somebody else who was supposed to go with me backed out on me. And then I didn't really like the tattoo artist the third time. And so it's just been this constant like back and forth if there's always some reason why I can't do this. And so now I actually know a really good tattoo artist. Shout out to Poncho. And I hit him up on Instagram. I was like, yo, fam, like, let me know when you have some time this week or next week. I want to come in. And he hit me back immediately. He was like, how about tomorrow? And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Well, yeah, let's do it. And so I go, and then I was like thinking on my way there, like, is it weird that I'm getting a tattoo by myself? Like, is that awkward? Is he gonna like look at me funny? And then I get there, and there's someone else having a consultation with them, and their partner is like sitting outside waiting on them, and they're like chilling in there with him. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then go in, get the tattoo. It's amazing. We have some great conversations, start talking about life and changing the world and stuff afterwards. And then for the rest of the day, I kind of just like kept it a secret to myself. And it was really special for me. And I realized like in that moment, had someone else been there, I also wouldn't have been able to have those conversations with Poncho and hear a lot of like his passion in the community and like where our dreams of helping other people kind of intersect and how we can connect and do different things. And I just think it's super important.
Do you not do many things by yourself?
I do a lot of things by myself all the time.
Oh, I thought it was interesting, and I wonder why is it that en route there you were even thinking or having the conversation of it being kind of weird that you were by yourself?
Because I think of like, I pretty much do everything by myself. Like go to eat, go to the movies. I do all of those things. But when it's like big things like that, like last time I went and got a tattoo, somebody was there. Usually there's like a person, like kind of like a bounce board or someone to talk to or someone to hold your hand or someone to do whatever. And I just don't have that. And I think like for me, this is kind of like a bigger like life decision because they're permanent or at least semi-permanent for now. And I was just doing it by myself.
Did you feel like it was special in that you were feeling cool about doing it by yourself because it meant like you're making your own decisions or something kind of like that, or like kind of stepping into your own person or something?
I think it's just continuing down that road of like I'm always my own person and doing what I want to do. But for some reason, like even there was like a line where I was like, well, I definitely have to have someone there with me, like questioning the placement and all that stuff. But it was so special afterwards because it was exactly what I wanted. Him and I worked through the design, the placement, everything was just me. Like there was literally no space for anything else. And I didn't even want it or think about it in that moment. Like after I got there, I didn't think about it again.
You didn't think about what again?
Like me being there by myself.
Oh,
I was just chilling.
Okay. Yeah,
like
and
in the
you were
moment,
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I think that's cool. And then what did you get?
So I got agape, which is like unconditional, like God love, like loving without expectation, just loving, and that's like where I aspired to be, like pure unconditional love. And then I got a flower for my grandma,
and it like connects. Like the E like connects into a flower?
Yep, the E connects into a flower.
It's real cute. And then it's color too. I was all in the dark looking at it, but what color did you say?
Purple.
Purple.
It's purple. It's my favorite color, but it's also my grandma's favorite color. And so for her flower, she was a huge gardener. So shout out to Naomi. She was killing it. And she always had these purple irises like out front of her house that were like her pride and joy. And it'd always be, Carlie Ruth, get out of my flowers.
Yeah, that must be your mom's mom, huh? Because all the Ruths and Naomi's, like, I already could put that connection together.
Exactly. I'm her namesake because I'm the obvious family favorite. And y'all are listening and y'all know it's true. But
does your family listen to the podcast?
Some of them, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like my cousins.
I don't even be knowing who's listening, to be honest.
People tell me, though. And I think it's like, I remember I was like telling Lex, well, we talked about this before, but I was like mad excited because somebody had texted me some feedback and you're like, you like that stuff, don't you? And I think because I do like it, people tell me more.
That's good.
Like people reach out all the time. Like people, one of my line sisters was in town. Shout out to Janae. I got to see her this week. Haven't seen her in like 3 years. And she listens to almost every episode.
Oh, that's cool.
And talks about how she really appreciation it. I actually needed to tell her, hey, Janae, if you're listening, write it in a comment. We would appreciate you. But she was saying how it's such an authentic conversation for this part in our journey. And there's not a lot of resources out there for people to kind of grow through things with you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really special.
Yeah. No, that is. And I think that is important. Kind of going back to your story, at what point did you start to let other people in on what you did by yourself?
The next day, my roommate saw it because, like, it had, like...
I know you had no shirt on. Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, make sure
It was
it's
going to be out.
fresh. And so my roommate saw it and was like, oh, let me see. I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, when did you get this done? I was like, yesterday. I was talking to her about it, and she was like, oh, who'd you go with? And I was like, by myself. She was like, wait, you went and got a tattoo by yourself? And I was like, yeah. Like, why not? She's like, oh, my God, I could never do that. And I was like, well, why not? And she was just talking about how it's harder for her to do a lot of things by herself. Like eating, she was like, oh, that's not really a big deal. But like movies, I would never do that. And this, like, I would never do that. And it was like this thing. And that's like kind of how I started thinking about the episode. And then throughout the week, I kind of had a couple more conversations very synchronistically with other people about doing things by myself. And I thought it was really important. Because for me, like that, getting a tattoo by myself was a important thing. But now I'm just like, oh, like I love it. And it was really special to me. But I don't think about going to the movies by myself. Like I do that all the time.
So what do you think are the reasons why people don't do certain things by themselves that you could do by yourself?
So one, I think if you're socialized, I'm thinking about my friends who don't like to do things by themselves. Like one, if you're socialized, if you've always had brothers and sisters and you always go places with everybody, it feels kind of weird or like it's not the same. And so...
So like if you're conditioned from your environment?
So like you're conditioned from your environment. Also, I think it can look kind of weird for women from like conversations that I've had. They're like, I don't have anybody to talk to, like lean into and talk to or laugh with at the movies. And I don't want to look lonely. Like someone like specifically said that. Yeah, like other people's perceptions of you. And then I also think that people have a strong aversion to being still and quiet and by themselves. Because when you're like every day we're constantly bombarded with everything, even from social media. So even when we're by ourselves, we're not really by ourselves. And so it's keeping yourself busy and in this loop so you actually never have to sit by yourself and with your thoughts, just you, which can be scary if you've never done it. But when you learn how to do it, it can be one of the most freeing things for you.
I agree. And I asked that because I was thinking a little bit about kind of to the perception part, like the validation as well. Like if you kind of need somebody to give you like an okay or, like to do something with you so you feel like it's okay for you to do whatever it is that you're doing. But in this episode, are we more so thinking about things we do ourselves that are like out and about? Like this isn't about alone time in our own like place and stuff, is it?
I think it's all encompassing in my head, unless there's something where you're like, oh, I don't think that's the same thing. I think it is because it's being intentional about cutting out time for yourself and spending intentional quality time with yourself. And so when I first heard about this in The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, I think is her last name. I think I always mess that up. But it's about encouraging creativity in your life and reigniting our creative fire, basically. And what she says and what all of these self-help people kind of like make fun of and laugh out now is to take yourself on artist dates. And so it's thinking about like, oh man, I've always wanted to go to this museum, but nobody ever wants to go with me. And so you don't end up going. And so you look at all of those things you've always wanted to do and you just start doing that shit by yourself.
You know, another reason why people don't do things by themselves a lot, I think,
why?
Because there's nobody there to take pictures and record it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like to do things with other people so that they can be able to get footage of things and take photos of each other. And not even saying that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that does make a difference sometimes. Because if you go and do something yourself, of course you can still snap or, do whatever with your phone, but you're a little less likely to like super be thinking about it unless that was your intent. Yeah.
And I do think, and I think that for our generation, that's like a new thing that's coming up for another reason. Because back in the day, like, unless you had a family, you wasn't carrying around one of them big ass like VCR video recorders.
And I think it also connects to a fear of other people not seeing what you're doing. I think now we are a little bit more conditioned that our lives are kind of open for people to see. So it's like, hey, I'm headed to, like everything's an announcement. I'm headed to the tattoo shop. I'm thinking about, changing this color of my nails and then you're there and then you're showing it happening. You are or aren't, but there tends to be some type of like conversation with others about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so now if it's like you're by yourself, and And if we take it all the way to the aloneness of like not even talking about it with other people or on social or whatever, really, and just doing a thing and enjoying that thing, now you've done something and people can't see what you're doing. They can't see that you're happy and like, or see that you had a good day or, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I think that is important to a lot of people.
I think so too. And now that you say that, it's probably one of the top reasons. Mm-hmm. It's like also sharing like, I am good, I'm happy, look at all these things that I'm doing. Yeah.
Or, I mean, and it doesn't even have to be a projection of like, you're trying to validate, but just showing, like we show everything. And everybody's like our friends, our connections, and this is our TV show. So like, it really is. And I think for me, the reason why I have kind of done things more to myself lately, or not even really lately, but like over time, is that being less important, to have people know what you're doing, or to see that you are doing something. Like sometimes I think the best days, or maybe not best, but like a good, chill, peaceful day is like when I'm not like putting anything on my stories. Like sometimes I just don't want to put anything up. I might be all out and about and doing things, but I don't want to put it up then. Or I could be doing something cool and I don't really post about it. Or I might post about it like 4 months later. Yeah. And it can be a distraction too when you're talking to people about what you're going to do, or you're showing what you're going to do, or posting about stuff that as you're doing it. Because also now that takes away from your productivity, as like people are talking to you about it and inviting people into conversation about it. Now you're talking all day and then you didn't actually do the stuff you're, you know, talking about doing. And I think that we just maybe enjoy talking about doing stuff or having the conversations around our lives more than the actual like enjoying it sometimes.
Definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's such an interesting conundrum, thinking about like how we got here. Like before social media, like it wasn't even like that. Like you would take them pictures on the little disposable cameras and get that film, and like you got 2 good pictures out of 24, and you know that would go into an album. And then when someone comes over to your house, that's how they saw everything that you're doing. But I my favorite days are when I'm so in the moment that it's like I'm not worried about my phone. Or I'm just like, I don't need that today. Like, I'm just trying to relax and chill. Like, when I was on vacation, I didn't have good service. And so my screen time went down like 60%. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm so embarrassed. But it was really nice to not think about my phone. Like, at one point, I was like, where is my phone? And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad I didn't lose it. But it was really nice to think about that. So have you always done things by yourself?
I've grown up doing a lot of things by myself. Like when I was homeschooled, for 3 years, like a lot of the time was me at the house. I did do a lot of things with other people and like art and dance, all that kind of stuff. But like I just was used to spending a chunk of time, I think, by myself. And even though I've always kind of been a loner, but I wasn't doing things by myself. I would do things with other people, but I would spend time by myself at home a lot. And even maybe after college, like as more of an adult age, like I had no problem going to movies by myself or to get food or whatever. So I don't think I've ever really had a problem with it. I think over time, maybe I did less because of being able to get photos and stuff, maybe of certain types of things and traveling and stuff like that. But now there are some things I don't want to do by myself, and then there's a lot of things that I can. That's not a big deal doing by myself, but it's more so because I think I've done certain things by myself so long that now I do want to like do it with somebody else or
what
be
are
out
some
with somebody
of those
else.
Things?
Like traveling and stuff. Like I travel by myself all the time, and I have all the time, and like I've lived abroad.
What was your first trip by yourself?
Ever?
Yeah,
probably the Bahamas at some point. A first far trip by myself, probably Romania. That's 16. But before that, I think I've been to the islands by myself, maybe. And then I was abroad at 19 or 20. Yeah, 19 because I turned 20 while I was there. And yeah, since then I've been on a few different trips by myself. But I want to go like with people, I think. So as like moving forward, I think for a lot of bigger trips, and maybe that's kind of it. But I've been in places. I'm trying to remember where I was the other day. And sometimes you'll be at a place and you'll think about like, man, I wish somebody else was here.
Yeah.
So there's
like, oh,
stuff
this is
like
so
that.
cool. Like, I kind of want to share it. Do you do intentional things by yourself? Like, it's easy. Like, I'm an only child. And so I've always been alone. And so I don't think about a lot of things like by myself outside of like, I guess the construct of big, what I in my head assume are group things. Like when I first traveled by myself to Barcelona, like that was a huge deal for me. But also because nobody in my family had really ever been out of the United States. But do you ever like intentionally take yourself out on dates or go look at art exhibits or do things like that just for you?
I do. I have to think of when that has been. Honestly, lately I've been doing more things with other people, and the more I've kind of been hanging out with people, the more now I'll kind of feel like, dang, like I do feel by myself if I'm like nobody came over today or something. Not in like a real drastic way, but I think for me, I'm backwards from this episode, and that it's been more important for me to be with other people a little bit more and do things with other people and commune a little bit more. I just don't have any problem with the opposite, but doing things myself, I'm trying to think of the last time I have, but like if I want to go to something or do something, then yeah, I'll just go if I want to just go. Or if nobody can go, that doesn't mean I'm not going to go.
Yeah, that was big for me. So,
like other people won't stop like what the plans are
yeah, what you want to do. When I was in Dallas and like I started going to all the, like I always, like I said, have done things by myself, but being very intentional about it. Like, oh, like this art exhibit, this concert, these different things. And it's funny because right before I left to go on vacation, there was a big Crit concert. And people in LA like don't love Crit the way that people in the South love Crit. And so I just, like I literally asked, they were like, oh, what concert are you going to? And I'm like, Big Crit. They said, who's that? And I'm like, oh, I can't even have this conversation with you. And so I went, and my roommates also thought that was odd that I went to a concert by myself. But I'm like, I mean, I'm going to have a good time regardless. And I think there's a lot of space and magic that happens whenever you are intentional about doing the things you want regardless of who's there.
Right. And then you're meeting other people. I mean, or you can have potential to meet other people and make other connections that are going to be in line with your, like what you like and, you know, what you're into because those are other people there. Not to turn this into an episode about dating, but that's one thing too. And people talk about how it's so hard to find like people, you know, that they like in LA or, you know, like where are all the black men at and all this and that. And I'm like, in my head, because I was at the salon the other day and like I was hearing everybody having conversations about, you know, dating and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, dang, it's like some barbershop type shit in here. But in my head, I'm always like, yo, that's at some point it's like, where are you at? Like what people are you trying to be around? What people are you trying to attract? And people ask me about my friends, like even talking about how they have a hard time networking or finding quality like friends or people to hang out with. And to me, I always just go back to like, where are you looking for these people and like, how are you connecting with them? So, I mean, you got to go to better places, but I think that it's cool to go places by yourself because that's where that opportunity is. Sometimes when you're with your crew, you're not meeting new people, you're not seeing other people, and sometimes you're not going to the places that you would like to go to. So if you did that by yourself, then I don't know, maybe find more people that you can build with.
Yeah. I think that's really important. And it's like, so if you want to dance and you've been wanting to take salsa lessons, but you can't get anybody to go, like you could be missing out on some quality friends and opportunities in these new spaces that you're just not going to. You talked about a little bit about a shift of like doing things more with people. Did something inspire that, or did it just organically start to blossom like that in your life?
I think I was just spending too much time by myself and at home. And I think it was because I did start to hang out a little bit more like this summer. Like my friends would start coming over like every other day. And I've never had like friends actually come over my house like that before. And so I think that just made me start wanting to like be more active with other people or, like if somebody invited me to go hiking or do something, then I'm like kind of like if I can, I've been more intentional about doing stuff like that, but with certain types of people too. Cause like not talking about like going out necessarily like out to party per se, but just doing more things like more activities, places and types of things where you can talk and like actually get to know a person. I went hiking with this lady, she's in her 50s and niece, like her play niece, kind of was there too, and she was in her 20s, so it was almost like a weird like Golden Girls type like women's bonding. Or not that we were bonding, but it was interesting, the conversations and like between a 20, 30, 50-year-old woman and like the ways we all still connect or maybe disconnect, and the way that the older woman was very much asking us questions and like still learning things and discovering things. And I think that's really cool that as we age, we're still open and still respecting other people for like them knowing things we don't know, or we still want to grow. We're not like set in a way type thing. And so I think as I start to actually do things with people who I can like mentally connect with and be cool with, or, have something about them that I admire, it does make me want to be around like other people a little bit more and like tap into different other kind of groups of people that maybe I can like hang out with more.
No, I think that that's important. How did you come up on that opportunity? If you don't mind sharing.
Opportunity?
Like to go hiking with? Yeah.
Oh, so she is a photographer and she's works with one of my clients as well. And so we were planning to go down to some studios to grab some content and stuff. And then she had already been talking about before a place that she liked for hiking. And she was like, well, you have to come to my house that morning so we can drive down anyway. So let's go hiking the day before. And then we like went to lunch, and I just stayed at her house that day. And then we went the next day. So it just kind of connected, like one work thing turned into like a whole retreat. So, no, but she's real cool, and she lives in like Inglewood area. So I was like, oh, we have to hang out sometime. I think we're supposed to be meeting up this week, actually, to get the content and stuff from what we were doing. But she's also really good because she keeps connecting me with other people as well. So I like that. And even yesterday I had kind of a networking meeting with a woman yesterday as well that had came to the Google panel that I was on. And so she set up a time to meet with me. And then I thought she was so cool too. Like she works specifically kind of with music type artists. And she basically is like lifestyle marketing with them and helping them get opportunities, connecting a dots type person. But also very much like individual. And she has a big curly white hair and like dressed like, you're like the people who can just put anything on, it looks cool type thing. So I was like, oh, okay, I feel like you would be a good match, like, for our art days and stuff like that. I told her about my friend Brianna in Chicago. Shout out Brianna. She's coming in December. So we're like planning a whole time to have like an art week while she's here. So those are intentional things I'm doing with other people that are I'm cool with and that align with stuff that I'm already working on. So I think that has been more important. And that is also more women, I think, has been very important for me too.
It's interesting because mine is actually, it's growing in all ways, but it is a lot more women and women pouring into me and connecting me. And I think that's so, so special. Like that's how I even got to go on this trip and to be able to teach yoga and meditation like internationally is because I was teaching at this gym and then made a connection. So shout out to Lala and Thrive Health Lab. Like just the opportunities come from like being in alignment and doing things that you're passionate about is so beautiful to see.
I think another thing, too, about doing things by yourself is that sometimes you're just not in the mood to be around other people. So sometimes it might not be that you're intentionally trying to do it by yourself, but it's like, you just don't want to be around the people maybe. So sometimes we're in a mood where it's like, all right, I don't feel like really talking to anybody or, being around people like that, but either that's when you're doing something at home or maybe you go out by yourself and just do stuff without having a lot of conversation about it. So that seems more like a reset type thing. And I think that's maybe what I'm doing when I'm spending time by myself. I don't know about for you, if it's more of a thought of, I want to do this by myself, or is it I don't feel like being around people today?
It's a both thing. It's both. Like the Crit concert was intentional, me going by myself. Like I'd rather just do this by myself and enjoy this moment. But I think like even with the change of seasons, like I feel like I'm just kind of like stepping back. I don't feel like being around people right now. Like I'm kind of like a bear, I guess, like hibernating a little bit and chilling. And
I say the exact same thing. Like I'll be hibernating come the winter. It's over.
And it's also kind of beautiful to take that time intentionally for myself. So I don't want to be around people, but I'm also intentionally taking time for myself and just kind of listening to what my body needs and like, okay, well, like, let me go do this. Or like, I said I was going to do that, but I'm not really feeling it today. And then allowing myself that space to be like, no, I'm not. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like sometimes that we perhaps need more, I don't think balance is the right word, but that we are getting to points where we're crashing and burning, or maybe a little bit not as dramatic, but like you're getting to the point that you crash and burn before you do things by yourself and take a step back. Mm-hmm. But what does that look like to not get to that point where it's like, I'm just totally tired of people. And sometimes you just are, your hormones or whatever. But like, how can we maintain an ongoing sense of like balance of being around people, having time to yourself, without it being like you're doing too much till you're like, all right, just block everybody off.
Yeah, or like I'm lonely and now I need to spend all my time with everybody.
Yeah, like what's the healthy way to do that?
For me, it's like a constant, like when we were walking through the meditation, like checking in with myself, like what do I need today? Like what does my schedule say? Like my requirements, if I know I have to be around a lot of people, like if I'm teaching at a 2-day workshop, like the third day, I'm probably not going to want to be around anybody. And so making sure that I plan very intentionally. But then the other thing is making sure that I'm taking the best care of myself that I can. Because if I'm full, then I'm much more flexible and fluid wherever I am, even if circumstance puts me somewhere else, than if I'm coming from a place of emptiness. And so making sure like that I'm exercising, that I'm eating healthy, that I'm getting my sleep, and that I'm journaling and meditating and doing all of those things so that I'm much more fluid in what's actually happening.
So there are alone things that you need to be doing anyway to keep yourself at a certain level. And if you're doing those, you should be okay.
Oh, 100%. And if I'm not doing those, I can tell, like, my road rage be on 9-9. Like, everything is just, like, amplified. Yeah, so escalated. Or, like, things that don't normally irritate me or things I'm not sensitive about typically. All of a sudden, it's like the end of the world. And I'm like, ooh, hold on. Yesterday, that joke was okay. Today, you're upset. What happened?
Yeah. When you're doing your alone time, is it more about you being in your own head? Are you being to yourself, or is it about like you're just still talking to new people or whoever you're with and around you?
Repeat that.
My question is, are you by yourself because is it how do you know when it's a blocking other people versus you're going to experience new people? Is that two different things? Like is one healthier than the other?
I think it's an ebb and flow, like of wherever you are. Like there are times when I'm taking very intentional time for myself when I'm blocking other people out. Like I'll turn my phone on airplane mode or turn that whole off and then journal and do all the things that I need to do. Like at night, there's a certain point where I turn my phone on airplane mode and go to sleep and then wake up and meditate and do all that stuff, then turn my phone on. And I think that that's really healthy to allow myself to have those moments back from everybody. And even social media, like at a certain hour, I'm going to stop getting on that and wait until after I finish my routine in the morning. But when I'm going out, like even with the Crit concert, like, I talk to people. There's actually a lot of people from like Houston and from Dallas and other people who were here for whatever reason who went to see Crit by themselves. And so that was cool. But also like I'm not looking right now and I don't have a lot of space for a lot of close friends or anything like that. So it was just like, hey, all right, then bye. Like
for that moment, it was just cool.
Yeah, just cool in the moment. What about for you?
When I'm out by myself, I think it's still just to be by myself, and I'm not really there to like necessarily have a lot of conversations with people, even if it's like get my nails done or something like that. Like I don't really like talking to them like the whole time, or like getting your hair done. Like I don't like having conversations the whole time. I actually don't, and I know a lot of people do that, and like people are used to like you talking, but I'm like one of those kind of headphonesy persons, or I'm kind of like not really here to have conversation. I think when I'm doing things by myself, when I'm out, it's about just totally like relaxing, or like shutting out people. And so maybe that's kind of what I think I'm gonna practice and like think about more intentionally going out with the intent of like, even if I'm connecting for that right then, but like kind of to connect with new people or talk to new people.
No, I think that that's a good thing. Like if you typically don't connect, like maybe challenge yourself too. And for me, it's like I need to have stronger boundaries because I'm too nice sometimes. Like and they'll like my Uber driver be chatting my face off. And I'm just like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, but I keep talking instead of just... I
mean, if they just keep going, it's like they don't care, So I'd be like, whatever, man. It's not on me. Like some people know, like they don't want to talk to you. And then if they keep talking, just... If you don't answer, like at some point you just stop answering. It's like, all right, that's on you.
And so I need to work on that. I I think that's interesting, going out and intentionally trying not to talk. Yeah, or trying
not to talk.
Well, like, yeah. So for me, because I'm the opposite. So normally I am open and people talk to me often when I'm out, and I do want to be by myself. And so it's like, you know, trying to change that, like challenging myself to do something a little different.
Okay.
Which I think is cool.
Speaking of things to do by yourself, I was, after we went hiking, we went to this place, and I thought about you. Have you heard of Shrine Lake?
Mm-mm.
So you would definitely like it. We have to go there sometime, or you have to go by there. I don't even really remember where it is, somewhere in the south somewhere of LA. But it's called Lake Shrine, or Shrine Lake of Self-Realization.
Ooh.
And so it's a lake, and then around it, there's like so much foliage and like plants, flowers, all this beautiful type stuff, like gardens kind of. And they have benches and like little hidden gazebos and like stuff all throughout. So it's almost like a track around it that you can walk, or you just sit somewhere and like just be quiet and still and whatever. And they have different either verses or passages all throughout on like stones and different things from like Bhagavad Gita's and the Bible and Torah and different things like that. And then another part of it though that somebody told me, and you can just donate to do it. But they have like a space where you can donate and you can stay there and just be totally quiet. And they said it could be like days, months, like however long you want, but like they give you the space, and I think they feed you and stuff. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know if I'd really want to do that, but I was like, that'd be cool for like 30 minutes maybe. But I think they said like people can go there and like have their own like total silent retreat. So I was like, ooh, that's kind of scary. But I thought it was cool that it's there. So I wanted to look more into it as well. But it's a cool place if you ever want to go and just like kind of relax, or maybe just be by yourself or with a book or journal or something.
Yeah. We should do that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But stuff like that, I think, is my style of stuff. Not that I'm necessarily going to go to like, I could go to a concert by myself, but I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I just probably wouldn't. I wouldn't think about that.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those, like, I wanted to go, nobody else was going. I was like, well, I'm not about to miss it. That's my third one. The first one was Big Crit, then J. Cole, and then Big Crit again.
Oh, this year?
No.
That you've gone?
No, it's like 2016, 2017, and now. Or 2018 and now. So for the silent retreats, that stuff is actually, there's one called Vipassana, and it's a 10-day silent, like even if we went, we wouldn't be able to talk to each other. We would just be meditating and eating like this vegan food. But I've had a couple of friends do them. One of my friends did it and then quit twice and was like, nah, bump this. And then another friend has done like 2.
That's a long time.
10, what?
That's a long time.
Without talking?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the other rules are. Probably the not talking part is okay, but technically you shouldn't probably email, text, or anything.
No, you're not doing no communication.
Yeah, so that's just one of those things, right? Yeah, I just couldn't do it. But you could do it for a few hours. I think you could do it for 4 hours. I think I can get away with it on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I'm down.
Maybe I should try that out. That's cool. Maybe we can have homework one day. Would y'all do that? if we say we're having a silent day, y'all participate and then like see what happens.
Like no communication.
Yeah, because we could talk about that.
That'd be
I'll probably go crazy. I'm gonna be on here laughing like the Joker. The next
like,
day.
what happened to Carlie? She just started laughing. Like,
I'm about to say, I'm already off. No, yeah, we talk about that. Let's do it. All right. Anything else about like doing things yourself? I think that was kind of a good reflection, and thinking about intent and decision making and just how you're spending your time, what you're spending your time doing, and, you know, not thinking about work and not always doing the work, but getting out and doing fun things with yourself.
And creative things and things that fill you up.
And making your own decisions is a big part of that too. Like how you did with your like tattoos. Like, all right, you don't need somebody else there. And if you feel like you do, you know why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why do you feel like you need somebody else there? Just go do it.
And it was funny because when we were talking about this before the episode, she had like said something. And I was like, man, because if somebody had been there, I definitely would have been like, well, what do you think about this? And what about this? And then when I was there, I didn't even think about it. I was so confident and just moved with it.
Yeah, that's good. So now you know that this is all me. Like that was all me doing this, making that decision. You were present with it. And you built a new relationship with this guy too. That's cool, since now you know his work is actually good too. So
exactly. And that just flows right into our shout out this week is Poncho the Artist on Instagram. Hit him up for tattoos. He's super dope, great soul, great person, doing a lot of great things in the community. So he also has like his brand, his company is called Art Is My Drug. And they have a mobile tattoo bus. And so they go around, hit up different festivals. I think he's about to be touring in Northern Cali. So if you're up there, you might get to see him soon. But in Torrance, he has a creative co-working space called the Art is My Drug Artist Lounge. And it's amazing. They have, it's a co-working space for artists. There's paint, there's everything that you can need for your work, and also just a space like with great vibes and amazing art around that he does, because he does art too, just to help you create a community and start building relationships with people. I've heard a lot of people talk about creative co-working spaces, but this is the first one I've actually seen.
Is it a membership?
Yep, it's a membership based. It's like $60 a month, and you can come, and I think it's from like 10 to 10, but you can check on Poncho the Artist or Art is My Drug. We'll link it in the episode notes. And on, they also have classes. So there's like guitar lessons, there's meditation classes. I teach yoga there. And so if you're trying to come through to a yoga class, I'm teaching at the Artist Lounge on Saturday, November 9th at 9 a.m. Like a self-care, self-love yoga flow.
Cool. That's cool. I want to check them out and look it up too. I have another friend who was thinking about creative co-working space, and if they offer so many different things outside of just like the space, I think that's interesting to look into for sure.
Yeah, super dope. And it's been a cool journey to see, because I met him through one of my clients, my personal training clients. Shout out to Ashley. She was like, yo, my tattoo artist wants somebody to teach yoga. And I was like, at his tattoo parlor? And she was like, yeah. And I got there and he was like, well, kinda. I'm like doing this whole other thing.
It tends to flow though. Like if you're that kind of person, you want to incorporate those things into your work and into your business, I think. So that's cool, because that is in alignment with, you know, the things that are important to you and what you already are doing as well.
Yeah, and I definitely thought about him for the art days and stuff like that, because he loves to do other art also, which is really awesome. So check them out. It'll be in episode notes. And then we have our question of the week.
Carlie, what are the fruits of your contemplations?
I just like the way this is worded. And I've been thinking a lot about fruit. So in a very physical sense, when you think about like a plant, like planting something and tending to it and watering it and all of that, repotting it. I just recently repotted Uno, and I was terrified that he was going to die, but he looks great. I think the fruit of everything I've been working for and in my head, so the fruit of everything I've been thinking about, like my contemplations, is a lot more self-love and manifestation. It's very evident in my relationships and the types of energy that comes to me and the type of people that I'm around, like you, Poncho, like the people who just kind of come into my life. Like that's the fruit of what my mindset has been.
Okay, I was going to answer that totally opposite and say the fruits of my contemplations tend to be more contemplation. And so to me, contemplation is when you're like thinking about a thing and you just like really just can't stop thinking about it. And for me, I don't really see a lot of fruit there. And I'm constantly telling myself, like, I don't need to keep thinking about or overthinking a thing, but just getting started, making moves and working. So that was my thought when I heard the question, that to consider that, hey, like you're doing all this contemplating, but what's the fruit from that until you're actually like in movement? So I think it's good to like plan things and have things on your mind and be intentional about your thoughts and affirmations, intention, all that. But then if you find yourself like always in circles about it, then that something's kind of off there. And it's like a wheel you need to jump off of.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I love that the questions can always be in so many different ways, because I see that too. But in my head, it was like, you know, where focus goes, energy flows, and all these things that I've been contemplating, but also working towards, have been manifesting.
That's true. There's like a healthy like space of thinking, and then it's like you're doing too much or you're not doing enough. And like the space of you need to have your mind on what you're trying to be open to seeing and figuring out how to work a thing or make a thing work. But then like when is it too much to where you're crippling yourself? So I think that's a personal thing where we all kind of have like a space where you know where you're falling off.
Yeah, and it's a thin line.
Yeah, it is a thin line. But I think it's just a matter of always checking like your thoughts to your actions. So keeping in mind like, hey, we should be also writing down like what are you getting done? Like what's the good things or what's the forward movement, and not just what are these plans or the things I'm thinking about.
Because plans sound real good, but what's the fruit from that?
Yeah, and so you remember and consider how much you are getting done and that you're doing. So that's all we got.
That's it. Have a good week.
Bye.